Well, what's one of your really favorite projects or ideas that you have supported? You have some favorite?
I think, well, you try not to have favorites, so it happens every. Two startups that are doing well with their growth internationally are Infravision. Infravision are a technology company that have created a drone and tensioning system effectively that helps string power lines using drones instead of helicopters. Well needed. If we look across the world at how much transition line needs to be built over the coming years, it is a lot, way more than has been done in the past. So they do it cheaper, they do it safer, and they do it more efficiently and quicker than other methods. Since then, they have just been going so well. They've gone into America, into Canada, and now they're having great success in India.
Mm-hmm.
So very relevant. The other one's actually topical for today because they just announced their Series D. So Neara, but they started out as a digital twin for an energy network. So really essential when it comes to helping utilities do renewables adoption and understanding a grid that is more complex. And they're the same. They have done so well in Australia and they're doing great when it comes to international expansion. But they just announced their Series D, which was $90 million.
What's the name of the company again? Neara?
Neara, Neara.
Okay.
Yeah.
Australia is doing its really future from many countries' perspective, especially developing Asia. I mean, I bring people in the podcasts and we're talking about V2G and these things happening, and many countries, their policies, regulation still doesn't fully allow effective net metering solutions, right? And
Yes.
when you're talking about, people doing completely opposite, wholesale market being supported by rooftop solar, homes, and millions of batteries. So it takes a lot of unpacking for many people. So then you come with these ideas, like what you mentioned, Infravision doing. These are to be able to do it scale and confidently is really good, because I interviewed someone with a drone here in the Philippines. So when I was an ADB staff, they were sending drones, but these drones were, of course, big drones, locally made, softwares being developed. But then if you have a company come and say, hey, we have done it X thousand kilometers globally, now I want to do it here. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a very different, no?
Yeah, that one is very scalable because there is, and I know in different parts of the world, I guess power systems are being rolled out in different ways, but transmission and distribution are a key part of many countries. In other countries, they're more focused on microgrids, which is quite different, but very appropriate. But that's right. It's a very scalable thing. But I think you raised a really good point around how this energy transition and decarbonisation looks very different when you look at emerging economies. They are just as important to help decarbonise. And as much as we're in Australia and a lot of the focus of our companies is Australia, either going into parts of Asia or America or Europe, where the economies have some similarities, Energy Labs also has a great partnership with an organisation called New Energy Nexus. So where they're a global startup support organisation. They started in California, they're in New York as well, but they're really focused on some of those emerging markets where decarbonisation needs to happen as people start using more and more energy. So they're in Thailand, they're in the Philippines, they're in Vietnam, they're in India, they're in Uganda, they're in Nigeria. And I have the great pleasure of talking to people like me that run those companies in those places around the world. And it's just really interesting understanding what entrepreneurship in this space looks like in those places. It's just different in so many ways. I know the group in Uganda and Nigeria can be more about teaching people to be entrepreneurs that are selling solar and rolling that out, as opposed to entrepreneurs that are doing things like Infravision and Neara. I was also talking to a very wonderful long-term friend of mine, Jeffrey Cha, who's based out of Japan, but is American originally, who's doing work in Cambodia. And he's focusing on using solar to run irrigation systems in rice paddies incredible work. So that decarbonising the diesel den sets, that are the ones doing all the pumping right now. So I think it's fascinating to understand what's needed in each country and the fact that it's all entrepreneurship and innovation, and it just has to look different depending on where everyone's at and where they are in this journey.